Hello and welcome back to Tiny Northeastern and to a new project, which is the pub. It's a Metcalfe kit. It's in badly need of some renovation works. There's lots of bits and pieces missing from it. Looks like they haven't had any regulars in here for a while, as the pub has been closed. So it's our job to renovate this and get it back open again. Right, here's a close-up of the Metcalfe pub. It's not in too bad of condition. Got a loose roof here. It's come away from the side, and the chimney pot is come away. So, but on hindsight, it's virtually a full kit. It's all here. Maybe one or two fascias missing off the apexes here, but apart from that, it's virtually complete. So, first thing we want to do is get inside the pub. So we'll take the notices down and we'll start removing the roofs. It seems to be well stuck down, all these parts, but let's see. I'll try and salvage as much of it as possible. I think they've used Yoo-hoo glue to stick it all together, or some sort of resin-based glue. Here's another one. If you look in there, they've used matchsticks to... What I'll do is I'll keep all these roofs and use them as templates to make new. I think. Right, let's have a look. Get this blade back up in there. Okay, that's the roof's off. Right, what I'm going to have to do is I'll have to make a base for the pub as well. So that's ideal. It's not too much damage, so I might be able to use some of it again. Right, now we've got the roof off. This might be the ideal time to look where I'm going to put the LEDs. I definitely want one in the bar area, and definitely want one in this area here and in this area here too. Do I need to take this roof off? Yes, I do. It might seem cruel taking it apart after someone spent hours and hours making it. Okay, I'm probably going to lose that pub sign now. Right, I want to keep these. The basic shell I want to keep. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tidy it up, and then I'm going to start thinking about repainting the whole building before I put the roof back on. As you can see, I have removed the ceiling from the main building on this side. The window accidentally came off when I was removing the door, so I've kept that, and it will go back. Just had to tidy it up a little bit. Virtually there was red curtains on this ground floor, so I'm going to remove all of them. I've taken out the windows here and here. Hopefully I can replace them with some bits and bobs out of my Metcalfe kits, because these are absolutely caked in glue, so I'll replace them, I think. So there's still a fair bit more to do. I'm leaving these windows here seem to be okay. I might even leave the red curtains on them once as well. The back ones, they seem okay. I'm leaving this door in place. All I'll do is I'll score it and paint it in situ, and leave that as it is. To do that, it'll be a lot easier if I take this off from the main building and stick it back later. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a gaping hole in this wall here for a door, as when I come to do the base, as you'll see, I'm going to put a bar in here. Every pub has to have a bar. Okay, so I'll make a start on that and cut a doorway in. Right, in order to cut a door and make a space through into the lounge, I've had to take both halves of the pub apart, as you can see. I'm having to repair and cut away at the same time as I'm going along. As you can see, that's the other half of the bar with the doorway and the opening going through into the lounge, the main lounge of the pub. That slot there is roughly 13mm across, 25mm deep, and that's 20mm across and 25mm deep. But yes, it's we're getting there. It's a shame it's fallen apart as I'm trying to fix it. Right, I have put the bar area and the lounge area back together again. I've cut a hole in the top ceiling above the bar area, which has enabled me to drill a hole for the LED ready, and the same goes for the lounge. There I've drilled a hole in the centre of there for the LED as well. I've punched a hole through there so I can feed the cables up through this little section here to illuminate the two LEDs. I'm only going to put two LEDs in here, and I think that's all it needs. Right, the next thing I'm going to do inside the bar area and the lounge area is I'm going to have to cut some paper and paper line the walls, especially where I've cut around here for the holes, and basically just so I can paint the inside. Otherwise you're going to have lots of mishmash areas. Okay, I have reinforced these annexes on top of the building here, just by cutting some card and gluing them in there just to stop these side walls from moving around. I've actually done some decorating on the inside. I've painted the ceilings in the lounge area and the bar area, so it's coming together. I've done all the hard bit of chopping it and cutting it, and so now it's just getting it back together. The next thing to do is to tidy these walls up where I've notched out. So I've got some paper. The inside dimensions of the bar is 37mm, so if I cut a strip of 37mm, next thing to do is carry out some measurements. I shall mark this out and then show you what I've done afterwards. Right, as you can see, I have marked out the positionings for a window and 2 doors for inside the pub. This is going to tidy up, I hope, the openings inside there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get some PVA wood glue, put it on the walls of the pub rather than putting it on the paper. Okay, as you can see, that's tidied up those rough cut edges. Basically it's wallpapering in miniature. Right, so what I've got to do now is the other side, which is that side in there where the flaps have come round. So I shall continue to do that. Right, adding those wallpaper bits on the inside seems to have straightened up the door edges, which is what I was hoping for. I've done the same along there inside the bar as well. And if I flip this up the other way, you can see it in there as well. So that's improved the look of that straight away. So the next thing to do is to let this dry, let the PVA go off, and in the meantime I might start designing the bar that actually goes into the pub. Okay, I have now come up with a plan for the bar. It's to go from the centre of here up and marry into that joint there, and from this side here back down and across that way there. So it'll more or less be like a horseshoe shaped bar. I've made some bar panels out of some scrap bits of card. It's only 10mm high, and I've just got to put the bar top on when I come to install the bar at a later date, after I've done all the painting inside. So we're moving along, and also I have added some window sills all the way around the building itself to make them stand out more prominently. There's a reason for that. I shall come to that later on in the video. Okay, as you can see, I have now fitted both bars into the pub. There's one in the main bar and there's one in the lounge. I've added some posters and some bottles on the wall. So now I can put the windows back on the outside, so I shall do that now. Right, I've decided not to put the windows just yet because I want to experiment with the finishing off of the building, and I've just done a quick experiment there. All I've done is I've used white paint and then sprinkled some very fine ballast on, and the effect you get is quite reasonable. Just by sprinkling the ballast on while the paint is wet. So as you can see, it is looking quite realistic. Still a little bit. Okay, as you can see, I have put on the pebble dashing using the Humbrol white paint and then sprinkling on the fine scale ballast. I had a little bit of an experiment there with some whitewash, and it didn't work out quite so well. So what I've decided on now is some white acrylic mixed in with a little bit of PVA wood glue to try and keep the stone adhered to the card, because when I was just using the paint, the stone was coming off. So I'm going to give that a try now and see what happens. Okay, so I've mixed up my whitewash. It's acrylic white paint mixed with a little bit of PVA and water mix, just to keep the addition to the stonework. So I'm just going to dab it on gently, because I don't want any of the stones to start brushing off. Seems to be working. I'm just dabbing it on rather than brushing it in. Another thing is, if you try and keep your building flat, it helps to keep the stones in place as well. Try not to get any on the windows, but it seems to be working. There you go. It does look a bit patchy, but I think when it dries out it'll look quite good. I'm not worried about it going on the fascia at the minute, because I'm going to paint over that with the black later on. The paint is dry, and I do like the way it's looking at the moment. Adding the brickwork over the arches instead of the stone that was there has vastly improved the look of the building, and the texture of the pebble dash, if you like, looks quite good. I'm quite pleased with the way that that's turned out. So with that in mind, the next thing to do is to paint the windowsills. I'm going to paint them black. I don't know if it's going to be a good idea or not, but we'll wait and see. So we'll paint the windowsills black, and I still have a door left to paint and fit. I've already fitted the main door there. And actually I might even put the windows back in. I was going to put them back in earlier, but I thought I'll wait until the pebble dash is done. I've painted the windowsills and the flashing, if you like, on the apexes black satin, and let's change the appearance yet again. And if you move around to the front, I have now fitted the 2 bay windows. While that's waiting to dry, I might as well concentrate on the outer buildings. Right, the outer buildings, I'm not going to bother pebble dashing these. I'm going to keep the brick as it is. I might add a little windowsill there and paint that black. Now it's going to be a nightmare to take these doors out, because they're sandwiched between the walls on that one, and on this one it's actually pretty strongly glued, and if I try pulling them out it's going to end up tearing them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave them green, and I'm just going to paint this one black. Right, to score the door, I'm just more or less going to follow the pattern of the door. But before I do, I need to put something underneath the door. Just another piece of card. Just like so. So I'm just going to follow the pattern that's already there. Just by scoring it with a pen. So when you paint it black, you get the outline of the door. So you get something like that. And what I might do is I might put a couple of zigzag braces across the door, which will highlight that. And on the other side, I'll just stick with the pattern that's already there. So as you see now, I'm just marking out for the diagonal braces. Okay, so when that's painted, and that would look like what you'd see inside the door with the lattice work. The door on the outbuildings has been painted and it looks quite realistic, and I've added the paint to the windowsill there and the one around the side as well. And there's a view of the outside of the gate, and if you look closely where I've scored it with a pen, you can actually see the planking. I've now added the outbuildings, or the stables, or whatever they used to be, to the main building itself. I've left the roof off because I'm going to do all the roofs in one go. I've added some ridge tails that were missing off of this brick wall, and let's finish that little bit off. So it's coming together slowly, but it's coming together. Right, the next stage is the floor plan. As you can see, this is the main bar area and lounge, and that's the outer buildings, and that's the courtyard. So the idea I want to do now is paint the floor and then cut it all out, glue it to the base of the building, and then once that's done I can then start fitting the LEDs. Okay, I've finished engraving the floorboard onto the card just by pressing hard with a pen, and I've also done some stonework. It's completely random, there's no uniformity about the pavement, so it'll just act like the courtyard would have done, and basically I'll just paint that a grey and just add some browns and yellows here and there just to highlight a few stones. But I think that would be quite effective, more than using the Metcalfe paving, I think. So it's an experiment and we shall see how I get on. I have done the floorboards on that side, and I've just given them a coat of varnish, and on this side I'm using just a mixture of greys and yellows with a hint of black just to do the cobblestones, and by the looks of it, it's working out really well. I'm not overindulging the paint, I'm just putting enough on because I want to see the black pen come through, and I'll do the same again. I'll just go over it with some varnish. Okay, I've finished the stonework and the flooring. I've actually stuck on a barmaid and a punter for inside the bar. So the next thing to do is to glue this to the base of the building, but I've just done a temporary fit and you can't really see them until maybe the LEDs are put in. So I've now added the LEDs. If you look through the bar window, you can just make out the barmaid and the punter. He's getting his first round in. The detail, let's have a look at the fireplace. You see the fireplace just about there somewhere. So, yeah, I'm quite pleased with the way that that's turned out. So that's the bar and lounge lit up. So the next thing to do is to add the roofs. I've made a start in putting the roofs back on. The main roof I had to remake using the old one as a template, and that seems to fit it okay. The roof above the bar entrance, that's original, and if we go across to the courtyard, that roof there is original. So we're slowly getting there. A couple more roofs to put on and a few apex fascias to put on, and then we just got to finish painting it off. Right, I have now added all the roofs and I have etched each and every one of these tiles ready for painting. I've also added some fascias for the small annex windows, so that's done. So the next thing left to do is to make the chimneys. I'll be using this one as a template, and I'll make 2 brand new chimneys to go on the top. What you're looking at in front of you is a template for a chimney breast, and all I've done is I've copied the original. Now I'm not sure how many you get with this kit originally, but I'm just going to add 2 more. So I've copied the chimney breast and I've marked it out, and I've just scored each line and then fold them over. So, and you end up with one of these, almost identical, but the difference being is there's a joint in the center there, and on my ones you don't have the joint in the center. The joint is actually going to be on the edge where you can't see it. And then you just make up a corner tab, basically for gluing the edges together. So you would glue it on this edge first, and then fold it round, a little bit of glue on that edge, and then just cut the excess off. Right, as you can see, that's where the paper tab is on the inside now, where it's folded, and this joint has met this joint, and all I did was just cut the excess off that was across there. Okay, there's the 3 chimney breasts finished. So all I've got to do now is paint the roof, add the chimney pots, and then we can put it in situ. Okay, as you can see, the pub is now situated back on the layout where it was when the video first started. It's been quite a long project doing this restoration work of an old Metcalfe kit. Out of the 3 projects, I think this was the longest one to do. There was so much work involved, but as you can see, it's turned out quite well. You can see, go right into the lounge, see the bar there. Right, and also this pub has a new name, got it under new management. Here we are. It is called the Northeastern. Right, we'll have a quick recap of the work that was carried out on this restoration. It's had a new centre roof. I've added 2 extra sets of chimney breasts. It has been pebble dashed. I've added proud windowsills on all the windows. Changed the stonework that was there to brickwork arches on all the main windows and the archway there. I have given it a new yard floor. I've also added a new internal floor and a bar. And I've added a punter inside the bar and a barmaid. And I've renamed the pub. Used to be the Black Horse, now it's the Northeastern. Right, there's still a little bit more to do in this area. There's paving to go in, a little bit of road to do, maybe a lamppost or 2. But yeah, well pleased with the way the pub's turned out. And I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, so I'll catch you next time at the Northeastern. Thanks for watching now. Bye.